as
So
the moderator?
yes, so I have all of the controls to moderate the meeting, and everybody here is commissioners. Plus, we have Mr. Booth with Blue Beacon here as well, and so that's who's currently in the meeting is commissioners and Mr. Booth. Staff who we have Dean and Lauren, and then also Margie and myself. So that's who's all in the meeting. What I'm trying to do is run this similar to how we do with our city commission meetings, in which I will have everybody muted just so that there's not eclectic noise in the background filtering into whoever's speaking. And so if you need to speak, you can raise your digital hand, the little blue hand, or if you're having problems, I can see you unless I've got, I'm doing some screen sharing, and in which case I might not see you, but if you wave your hand, I might be able to see you as well as the blue raise your hand. So if the blue raise your hand isn't working, which is the preferred method, feel free to wave at me and I'll try to see you and then let you speak. So the format of the meeting will be similar to all our other planning commission meetings, where Dean's going to present the staff report. The chair is going to open up the meeting and read the agenda items. And then after Dean's presented his staff report, then the applicant will have a chance to speak. And then after that, we'll have, if there's anyone from the public on, they'll have a chance to speak as well. And we'll just unmute them one by one as they come in and want to speak. And then we'll go from there. So for the time being, what we'll do is I'm going to unmute Mr. Linkowitz so he can speak and kind of get us kicked off, and then we'll go from there. If you have any questions, raise your hand and let me know. All right, Greg. Oop. It keeps bouncing around on me, so as I'm clicking to unmute them, sometimes it switches the wrong person.
How's that?
Yep, you seem to be unmuted now.
Okay. Well, get started. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the special meeting for Salina City Planning Commission meeting for December 1st. Hard to believe it's December already. And our first order of business is to...
Well, there's two things we would need to do. Just we'll call roll, and for Margie's benefit. And I'm seeing Commissioner Olson, Commissioner Hay, Commissioner Gilmore, Commissioner Linkowitz, Commissioner Waters, Commissioner Baffa, and Commissioner Bernhardt. So we have 7 appointed members, and we have all of them in attendance. And then Margie, could you confirm that we've met the open meetings requirement in terms of posting the packet?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So now we have jurisdiction and we may proceed to open for business.
Okay, we're up to the approval of minutes for the September 1st, 2020 regular meeting.
Joe. I'm trying to get you here, Joe.
Like to make
Justin, can't we unmute ourselves?
Yeah,
you just heard me, so you can
Yeah,
unmute yourself.
that worked.
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes as written.
Yeah, I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Those in favor say aye.
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 So do we want to do a roll call on that?
Yeah, I think for Margie's benefit, I'm gonna have call roll on each of the votes just so that we can confirm that. So Commissioner Olson.
Aye.
Commissioner Hay.
Aye.
Commissioner Gilmore.
Some of them are still muted, so you may have to
Okay.
unmute yourself, or if you can't, I'll get in here and. Okay, I just unmuted Gilmore.
So Commissioner Gilmore, is that an aye? Okay. Commissioner Linkowitz.
Aye.
Commissioner Waters.
Aye.
Commissioner Baffa.
Aye.
And Commissioner Bernhardt.
Aye.
So that motion to approve the minutes carries 7-0.
All right, guess we're on to new business.
And our public hearing item for this evening is item 3.1. And that is an application that's been filed by Lighthouse Properties requesting a change in zoning district classification from C3 Shopping Center District and R3 Multifamily Residential to C4 Central Business District. And the property we're talking about is located on the south side of Mulberry Street between South Santa Fe and South Fifth Street. So all of you should have received the packet with a large number of maps and the background. I'm sure you're familiar as part of the large reinvestment effort going on downtown. The Homewood Suites Hotel was recently completed on the north side of Mulberry Street between Santa Fe and Fifth Street. And along with the hotel, there are 2 restaurants associated with that on the ground floor, Yaya's and Starbucks. And the applicants have identified a need for additional surface parking, particularly to serve customers of Yaya's. And as part of the background, we've indicated that there were 3 structures on the property in question. And one of those was a house at the corner of 5th and Mulberry. And that house was relocated over to the Ashby House site at Walnut and 8th Street. There was a dwelling at 308 South Mulberry or South 5th, south of Mulberry, and that dwelling was demolished. And then you're familiar with the former Taco John's restaurant. That building was demolished and Taco John's relocated over to 418 East Iron. And so with the opening of the hotel and Yaya's, Blue Beacon, the owner of this property, has identified a need for additional surface parking. They have purchased all these properties and they've now been cleared. They've got a mix of C3 and C4 zoning. And the off-street parking regulations require that all parking spaces required to serve buildings or uses shall be either located on the same zoning lot or in the same zoning district as the building or use that it serves. So all of the land holdings of Lighthouse Properties north of Mulberry are zone C4, and the R3 district, which is the zoning of 308 South 5th, does not allow for off-street parking. So this application has been filed to make the zoning of the land holding south of Mulberry match the zoning of that's to the north of Mulberry. And so surface parking lots are a permitted use in the C4 district. The requirement for a landscape plan or landscaping is not a requirement of the C4 district, but the downtown design guidelines for downtown Salina encourage front yard landscaping. So you'll note that on the other lots associated with the hotel, there is front yard landscaping associated with those lots. We've provided for you in the staff report just a summary of some of the design guidelines for parking lots. And because this property is located in the downtown business improvement district, final plans for construction of a permanent parking lot on this site will need to be reviewed and approved by the design review board. The trend in this area has been away from residential and towards commercial expansion, as evidenced by the removal of 9 residences in the vicinity of this intersection. The applicant doesn't have any interest in redeveloping these lots for residential purposes, and that their higher and best use is for commercial associated with downtown redevelopment. So this property is in the original town of Salina. It's also in the boundaries of the business improvement district. And staff would agree that this property is more suitable for commercial redevelopment than residential redevelopment. I think Dustin showed you the surrounding zoning map. But the property to the north and actually some of the property to the south of this is zone C4. So the C4 zoning is consistent with the surrounding area. And the fact that this is in the downtown improvement district, as well as in the Star Bond and in the TIF district boundaries, strengthens the applicant's case for C4 zoning. One thing we point out is that the Public Works Department recently completed a project that increased the size of the storm sewer running down Mulberry to the old Smoky Hill River channel. And that increase in the storm sewer size has eliminated some street flooding that occurred at the 5th and Mulberry intersection. So if we look at the downtown from the perspective of the comprehensive plan, this area is in the business improvement district. It's in the downtown Star Bond and TIF districts. And we think that rezoning this would be consistent with the goals for downtown Salina, which include encourage infill development in the core downtown and surrounding downtown neighborhoods, and encourage downtown to be a park once destination. And so your alternatives after hearing from the applicant this afternoon would be to recommend approval of the applicant's request for C4 zoning. You could recommend that consideration of this application be postponed to allow either the applicant or city staff to provide additional information, or you could recommend denial of this application provided appropriate findings are made. We've provided for you on the end of your staff report some reasons that we think support this zoning change. And the last of which is rezoning this property to allow additional accessory parking to support the downtown hotel project is consistent with the comprehensive plan's goal of encouraging infill development and making downtown a park once destination. So with that, I would be open to any questions you have about the staff report, or if there are any of the graphics that you would want to look at more closely from Mr. Hers, you can let him know. And if not, then I'd bring it back to the chair, see if the applicant would like to address the commission.
Do we have any questions for staff?
I got you, Dan.
Yes, the landscape plan, was that included with the original? And if it were, it might have been too small for me to read, and I just wanted to encourage native plants.
The conceptual plan that was submitted with the parking lot layout did not show any landscape areas or buffers, but Dustin, if you want to put up the master plan for the whole campus, if you could put that on the screen.
Just a moment here.
So we don't yet have a final design plan for the surface parking lot that would go here. That would be submitted to the Downtown Design Review Board for their review before it was finalized. But what's on the screen today gives you an indication of the type of landscaping that's been involved in the parking lots that are located east of the hotel. And so most of those have taken advantage of low water use, drought tolerant plants. And it's my understanding that there may be an irrigation system as well, and we can let Mr. Boos confirm that.
Any other questions for staff? Would the applicant like to comment on anything?
Well, I'd just like to thank you for your time today. We've been working with city staff on this as well as all of our other projects downtown now for several years. And we found everyone to be very supportive. The landscape would be in keeping with what's on the adjacent corners. And that would be presented to the design review board as the first step. We couldn't do it till we do the zoning because that would affect the landscape requirements that would be then submitted. But I'm also happy to answer any questions.
Yes, I just would highly encourage the use of native plants like the rest of the planters
Okay.
on Santa Fe, with the exception of the columnar oak trees, which are English oak, which are not native.
Okay.
I think we have too many of those in the city anyway.
Okay.
Any other questions? Looks like we are out of questions, so we appreciate your time and your effort in attending this, and hopefully ready for a motion.
I would make a motion to approve application number Z20-4.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to recommend approval of the applicant's request for C4 zoning under application number Z20-4. All those in favor, I'm going to start with Mr. Olson. Are you an aye?
Aye.
Mr. Hay?
Aye.
Mr. Gilmore? Have we got him unmuted, Dustin?
Yes, he's unmuted.
Okay.
He's not coming through though.
Mr. Linkowitz?
Aye.
Ms. Waters?
Aye.
Ms. Baffa?
Aye.
And Mr. Bernhardt?
Aye.
Okay. So did you get that recorded, Margie?
Yes, motion carried 7-0.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that takes care of our public hearing item for tonight. And Mr. Booth can bow out or stick around for the next item, but the next item is,
Dean, do we need to ask for public comments?
We can. There isn't any public in the meeting. We've confirmed that.
Okay, but the public was invited.
Yes.
Okay.
And if the public joined in, Dustin would see them on his screen. But yes, we did skip over that, but that's because Dustin didn't alert us that anyone had joined the meeting.
Correct.
Your second item on your agenda this evening is to review the proposed major projects in the 2021 capital improvement program for conformance with the comprehensive plan. And so part of your role under the Kansas statutes is that the Planning Commission is to review major projects to see if they conform with the comprehensive plan and to report the results of that review to the City Commission. And under the present schedule, the City Commission is scheduled to consider this next Monday. And so what we have on the highlighted for you, we pulled out of the larger 5-year plan. And so this is an ongoing project that's been occurring gradually each year, and we have a number of cast iron water lines throughout the city, and our Director of Utilities has embarked on a project where we're replacing about 3 miles of water line per year. And with all the current projects under design, about 37 miles have been replaced. But at this rate, it will still take 50 years to replace all the cast iron water lines we have with PVC lines. But the allocation for that is $2 million a year to replace about 3 miles of water line each year. Each year we have money set aside for the sales tax to do street surface improvements, and there's $3.2 million set aside for that next year. Annually, we spend about $50,000 on extending the hike bike trail network throughout the community, and so that's an ongoing project that is continuing. As far as phase projects, we have phase 3 of the park capital improvement program, and those are projects that were identified in the parks master plan, and about $500,000 is set aside for that each year. As far as updates, we're actually moving into the construction phase of some of the in-channel improvements for the Smoky Hill River renewal. And one of the things we're waiting on is the possibility of a $10 million contribution from the Corps of Engineers, which would help move that project along. But this focuses on removing sediment, trash and debris, reshaping the banks. And so it's going to start kind of in the downtown area and fan out from that. But there's $7 million set aside for this year to get started with that. Another item that's ongoing is to secure our long-term water supply, purchasing additional water storage rights in the Canopolis Reservoir to back up our existing water rights when we don't get enough flow in the Smoky Hill River.
Dean, shouldn't that money for the temporary storage come out of the water and sewer fund?
Well, the proposal is to have it repaid through general obligation bonds, unless I have misread that. But that's what the plan calls for, is for that to be purchased through temporary notes and not with utility funds. Another project that's been on the radar and was carried over from 2020 was replacement of the North 9th Street Bridge over Mulberry Creek out by I-70. And the bridge has got load restrictions on it now and continues to deteriorate. And so there's a plan to replace that this coming year. And then there is a couple of new projects related to the Tony's Pizza Event Center. Those were carried over from last year. And then in terms of water and wastewater projects, there is a design work for updates to the wastewater treatment plant. And so that's going to be funded through a revolving loan fund through the state of Kansas. So the note that I have there is that the total cost of the projects for 2021 is a little over $43 million. A lot of these were deferred in 2020 and carried over to 2021 due to budget concerns associated with COVID-19. So there's a resolution that's attached to your report there, and the resolution, if you approve it, would be to just go on record telling the city commission that you've reviewed these projects and that you find them to be consistent with the future land use plan and the goals and policies in the comprehensive plan. So I'd be open to any questions about any specific projects, to let you know what I know about them, but we don't have all the departments associated with each of those projects. But the primary role is to make sure we're not spending money on projects that take us in the wrong direction or inconsistent with our comprehensive plan.
Dean, I just got a couple of questions. So with the total projection in 2021 of 43 million, a lot of this still could be held up because of COVID, right?
It is possible, in 2020 with some of the shutdowns and businesses shutting down and some projected drops in property and sales tax revenue. A lot of these things were basically adjusted and removed out of 2020 projects. And the same thing could happen again if we have a repeat of some of the lockdowns or projected reductions in tax revenue.
Okay. And then I also noticed that I believe that Commissioner Baffa asked a question about the purchase of the water storage. I can remember when I was on the commission last year that we did decide on the general obligation bonds to be paid from the sales tax on that. Thank you.
So in that same line of questioning, so how was the budget for 2020? Everything was delayed because of expected shortfalls. How did we actually end up?
Well, I believe that the damage from loss of sales tax and property tax was not as great as anticipated, and so employees were brought back to full-time work status sooner. Some employees were going to be on work share through the end of the calendar year, and most of employees were brought back to full-time work by September. And that was just based on the revenue coming in being better than what some of the projections were. But the easiest place to make sure that there was sufficient revenue for day-to-day operations was to just defer some of these projects. And so as I reviewed the capital improvement program that you reviewed last December, a lot of these projects like the 9th Street Bridge and some of the things associated with the Tony's Pizza Event Center and the parks plan, those were deferred in 2020 and they are reappearing in 2021. So there's really, other than moving from design to construction on the Smoky Hill River renewal, almost every one of these projects was originally slated for 2020 and got deferred. So if we've addressed everyone's questions and you concur that these major projects identified in the 2021 CRP are located in the existing service area, a motion should be made to approve the attached resolution 20-1 and endorse this project list.
So moved.
Seconded.
So we have a motion and a second to endorse this project list and submit this resolution of support to the city commission. The Commissioner Olson,
Aye.
Commissioner Hay,
Aye.
Commissioner Gilmore,
Aye.
Commissioner Linkowitz,
Aye.
Commissioner Waters,
Aye.
Commissioner Baffa, and Commissioner Bernhardt.
Aye.
Okay, we've got a resolution that we will pass on to the finance director. And again, the city commission will have this CIP on their agenda this coming Monday. And so we appreciate the opportunity for you to weigh in, and they want to know your thoughts on that before they take it up. So we have fulfilled our obligation to weigh in on the capital improvement program. We don't have any preliminary discussion items. And in terms of unfinished or other business, I would just note that we are anticipating, we don't know how long the Zoom meeting format will go, so it's for the foreseeable future. We're also looking to extend the reduced meeting schedule into the first half of 2021. So what that means is that instead of 2 planning commission meetings a month, we'd still just have the first meeting of each month, at least through the first half of next year. Board of Zoning Appeals would be once a month, and the Design Review Board once a month. And so with that being said, that means there's be no meeting December 15th, and we do have a meeting scheduled for January 5th, 2021, and we've got some applications filed for that meeting. So I guess under other business, I just see if any commission members have questions about the format or the number of meetings we're going to be holding, but we're going to maintain the reduced meeting schedule at least through the first half of next year.
Any questions or comments?
Any feedback on how this worked for everyone?
I think it worked okay.
Yeah, I think it worked well for the first time.
Yeah, this is probably my 20th Zoom meeting, and in Salina, it's not a big deal, but when you have statewide meeting, it really cuts down on travel, and I really like it.
So I'll look, Dustin, do we have anybody in the public forum or anybody that's wanting to join in? So
No, we don't have anybody else from the public. Currently in the meeting, we have city staff, Salina Media Connection, and the commissioners.
So again, we're scheduled to meet on January 5th, and so we'll meet the first Tuesday in January, February, March, April, and then we'll see how things go. But for the foreseeable future, we're anticipating staying with this format.
Sounds like a plan. Again, appreciate all your work on this. And obviously there's going to be a little bit of an adaptation period. At least guys like me, I don't Zoom for my work. So I'm kind of fish out of water here. So I appreciate you hanging in there with me and getting acclimated to it. But I guess we're probably ready for an adjournment.
No mood.
Seconded.
So all those in favor of adjourning, Mr. Olson,
Aye.
Mr. Hay,
Aye.
Mr. Gilmore,
Aye.
Mr. Linkowitz,
Aye.
Ms. Waters,
Aye.
Mr. Baffa,
Aye.
and Mr. Bernhardt.
Aye.
Okay, we've got an approved motion to adjourn, so you're free to sign off.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, same to you.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for everyone joining us.
Thank you.
Mhm.